She got all my attention, but I didn't realize the history behind it, that no United States woman has ever gold medal in that event. Never.
No. The only other medal we had in women's shot put was Earlene Brown in 1960, and she was bronze. And so if you look at the history of women in sports in general, when women started sports, they wanted pretty sports like equestrian and like things like that. Like, women weren't supposed to like exert themselves or be too strong. In that moment, I wasn't even really thinking about becoming the first person to win gold in my event. I just knew that if I did what I was capable of, everything else would take care of itself.
Yeah, TikTok, I'm just rolling on the block. Marisa took me, heard that. Podcast show about to start. Heard that. You should know if entertainment is your goal. You're talking sports or travel, yo. This the hottest pod show. Heard that. She got shoes, everything she says is true. If you don't know, now you know. All you ever gotta say is heard that, heard that, heard that, heard that, heard that, heard that. Look, all you ever gotta say.
What's up, Heard That Nation? Listening in the United States and around the world, you are now listening to the Heard That with Marisa Tigney podcast. If you are watching on YouTube right now, hit that subscribe button so you stay in the know of every new episode and every guest that I have on the show. February is Black History Month. We have a HERstory maker that is here as a guest on the show today. She is a 2016 Olympic gold medalist, a three-time Olympian, the first woman in the United States to win that event since it came to fruition in 1948. She is a current American record holder in the shot put. She's a motivational speaker, an entrepreneur, and host of her own podcast called the Podium Life. Please, y'all, for Shot Diva, give a warm welcome. I am so excited. Michelle Carter, welcome to the Heard That podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I am so thrilled to have you on. When I told you before the show started that people, when they saw the promo that you were coming on the podcast, they were beyond excited, more so for your motivational speaking and encouraging people to be themselves and to, mental health, and for they're embracing who they are. And we're going to get into that a little bit, but I am just in awe of your resume and what you have done for the sport of shot put. How did that journey begin? Because I know your father did shot put, and also people that are familiar with Michelle Carter's name, her father is a three-time Super Bowl champion, but he also was a United States Olympian and won a silver medal in shot put as well. So what inspired you? Was it mostly through him, trying out shot put? Because I'll tell you what, from someone who ran track and was curious about how much a shot put weighs, and I happened to pick one up, that was a one and done for me. I stuck to the running events.
She said, all I need to do is just pick it up just a little bit. That
was it. I was picking up. I was like, they're throwing it with one hand. This should be no problem. I picked it up. I was like, well, that career is now over
never mind.
For me. Never mind.
Yeah. Well, actually, it didn't start like how people think that it started out, because people think that I just knew what all my dad did. I actually started track and field not knowing that he competed and did what he did in track and field. Okay. My coach just asked me to join the track team. I just transferred from private school to public school going into 7th grade. And, you're in athletics. I'm playing basketball and doing all the other sports. And they were like, hey, let's do track. And my dad, he just kind of questioned, like, why are they asking you to do this? Like, who said it? What they say? Which coach was it? Where was everybody else? And so I'm like, dang, Daddy, like, just let me play. Can I try it? And he was like, well, if this is what you want to do, like, I'm going to help you because you don't know what you're getting yourself into. And he was right, because he already knew that once people saw my name on the list, that there were going to be expectations because of what he accomplished. And I didn't really get to learn what he accomplished until I actually was in the sport. Yeah. And I'm listening to conversations and I'm like, time out. Like, you got something you want to tell me?
Yeah. Yeah, because that time when you have athletes that have accomplished it, like Michael Jordan, he has children. So when his children were trying out for basketball and everything, they're like, okay, your daddy is like the pinnacle of up there in basketball. So, all that spotlight and all that pressure is on them, to achieve at least minimum, the status and the stats and, getting a ring or two, maybe. Did you feel any of that pressure on yourself, knowing, your dad's resume and what he has done for the sport, shot put?
No, I did not. And my parents made sure that I didn't feel it. Like, they always told me, like, if this is what you want to do, we're going to be your best. Like, whatever your best is, that's what we're going to figure out. And it wasn't going to guarantee me going to the Olympics or nothing. We just took it one step at a time. Go to junior high, go to high school. You go to district, go to regionals. Go to regionals, go to state. You get your senior year. Okay, what's next? College.
Yeah.
So we just kind of took the next steps, because in my parents' mind, all they told me that I need to go get a scholarship. They're not paying for college, but you can go get free money. And so that was the next thing to do. I was there because I had to go to school and get my education. But then once I graduated, I'm like, well, I guess I can try out for the Olympics. So it's like I just took the next best step in this situation, and what was best for me. And my parents didn't care if I made it to that level or not, just as long as whatever I was doing my absolute best.
When did you know, when you got to, so you competed, regionals and finals and everything in high school, then going on to college, when did you know in your mind, like, I can do this in the Olympics? Like, I feel that I'm really good at shot put, and I'm putting all my time and my effort, my sweat, my talent into this. This may be something that I want to take a step further and try out for the Olympics and go for there. So when did you know, dang it, doggone, I'm good?
Yeah. So I think my freshman year in college, I made the world junior team. And it was 2004. I had the opportunity to go to the Olympic trials. I opted out. And I was already like second in the US at that time, like in college. And I could have made the team if I would have went. But I didn't feel ready. I didn't feel prepared. I had a horrible NCAA my freshman year. And so I'm like, okay, I don't know what I want to do. Like, this is like too much. But then I went to the World Juniors, and because I had a bad season, they were like, this may not go so well. I mean, you're just wasting your time if you're going. But I was like, you know what? I'm not going for anybody else. I'm going for myself.
Right.
And in this moment, I had to prove it to myself that I can actually do this. Like, do I actually have what it takes? Forget what everybody else think. I had to prove it to myself. Do I really want to do this? Because I'm going to the University of Texas, who don't play about sports, and I have this reputation of just going out there and doing well and being a great athlete. And I felt like I was failing. And so going through that track meet and really just kind of just solely depending on myself in that moment really kind of made me realize, okay, Michelle, you can actually do this. So I went to that competition. I remember I seen Valerie Adams for the first time. Was it? No, that was high school. No, I didn't see her the first time there. But I competed, and I had like a major PR. It was like a 2-foot PR. And in that moment, I realized, okay, Michelle, you can do this. Like, because it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. Can't nobody help me throw in that moment. I had to prove to myself that I actually have what it takes. And that track meet proved it to me. And then from that moment on, I'm like, okay, well, Shell, let's go. Like, we're just going to just do our best and see where it takes us. And that's when I realized I actually have what it takes to accomplish whatever I wanted in the sport.
Right. So educate everybody real quick, Michelle, of shot put, because people see it on TV and they see y'all in this circle and doing the rotation in the circle and then throwing it with one arm. Educate everybody of how heavy that ball is. Like, this isn't your beach ball, your basketball, or anything light like that there.
Yeah,
like,
it's not a softball, baseball.
Right.
If you try to throw it like any regular ball, you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to tear your shoulder up.
That's why
so
there's a
the
technique.
Women's shot put weighs 8.8 pounds. And so it's just 4 kilos. We get to this weight in high school, and we stay there for our whole career, college and professional. Now, the men is different. In high school, they throw a 12-pound. In college and above, they throw a 16-pound shot.
Oh, wow. Why is there a big weight difference between the men's for high school versus...
because men get real strong as they get older.
True.
Like they get strong, right? So when you got a young man in their 20s, they can lift the house. So going from the 12-pound to the 16-pound kind of just evens it out, so they're not throwing like super, super far. So like right now, and like professionally, these men are throwing 70, 75 feet with a 16-pound shot put.
That's incredible too. It's just I mean, I'm just like, okay, the amount of strength and amount of focus with one arm, and you're just heaving that out there. Like that is just that's amazing to me to not only throw with one arm, but your foot can't go over, and I don't know what you properly call that area.
It's the toe board.
The toe
so
board.
so the shot put ring is like I think it's like 7 feet 2 inches. And you have to create as much power as you can in this little circle, throw the shot put and stay inside the circle. Once you touch anything outside of the circle, it's considered a foul.
Wow. And so that's why I had said, because I ran track and I stuck to the rivers and the lakes that I was used to of running, because 8.8 pounds and continually to go and to do that motion in a small space, such as what you did, and it did very well. Some people have it, and some people just need to move on and find their different talents, which I did. So you are doing this in college, and then you getting better and better at it. So when, Michelle, did you realize, okay, I have an opportunity to go to the Olympics and to do something incredible, which I did not know, because the first time I ever saw you on television was during the Rio Olympics. And I was just so fascinated. I'm like going, okay, sister out here just throwing a shot put, like, she got all my attention. But I didn't realize the history behind it, that no United States woman has ever gold medal in that event. Never.
No. The only other medal we had in women's shot put was Earlene Brown in 1960. And she was bronze. And so if you look at the history of women in sports in general, when women started sports, they wanted pretty sports like equestrian and like things like that. Like women weren't supposed to like exert themselves or be too strong. Like that was the idea of women in sports before they even let women do sports. Like women can't do that. Like if you did that, then you can't have kids. Like that's what they're thinking. So therefore women didn't do sports. Women were supposed to be like protected and kept and do all the little gentle stuff. But then of course over time, and eventually we had Title IX, and all these changes started happening when you realize that women actually can do these things and can do it very well. And so with that, in that moment, I wasn't even really thinking about becoming the first person, because to win gold in my event, I just knew that if I did what I was capable of, everything else would take care of itself. And so I just had to show up and be my best.
Yes.
And with that, I knew that I had a chance to make history. And I felt like in the moment, you never really quite know the impact of what you're doing will have on people until like later on. And that's how I kind of felt. Like people like, did you know that? Like in this moment, like, no, I'm just out here to do my job. I know I can win, and that's what I'm here to do. I'm not really thinking about anything else. But I knew that but I did know, like in the back of my mind, that if I do this, that it will change the game, because now you have to count Americans in. Versus when at first we were always counted out. It was always ran by or won by Eastern Europe was our main people in that. Then you have Valerie Adams, who's is she a 5-time Olympian now? I think so.
I think she is a 5-time Olympian.
Yeah. So she has her reign and all these things, but then now these Americans all of a sudden are popping up. And then for me, it's crazy, because once you see one person do it, then more people will follow. So now, since I won in 2016, now we have Raven Saunders with silver in 2020. And then now we have Chase Ely, who won world championships in 2023. So 2022. So now it's normal for us to be at the top. Where we didn't see it at first, and it was hard to get there. People always counted us out. But then when one person do it, now it is not like the ceiling anymore. It's now the floor. Okay, she done it, then now I can do it. But I think this with the history of women in sports, it just took a minute for people to embrace women doing strong things. And shot put isn't the most feminine, the prettiest sport, but look at my dad. I am a daughter of a lineman. Like, I got some genetics that I can't help. I might as well use them and do something great with them.
I think the big thing going back to that moment, because I remember watching that on TV, and I just moved to Texas at the time. I'm originally from Michigan. And so watching you on television and hearing the announcers talk about the more that you were advancing and, you know, the possibility that you were going to win the gold medal. Their whole dynamic when they were talking about it changed, which got a lot of viewers excited of shot put, women's shot put. And I think for you at that moment that you did more than just shatter the glass ceiling. Like, you got people talking about, you know, literally hero status is what you became for a lot of women. And I was talking to a couple of people at the time when you did end up winning the event. And they were like, did you just watch what she did? This is going to open the doors for so many of us that's been struggling, trying to get noticed in this sport. Yeah. And I didn't realize that. I'm just like, okay, track and field is not just about track, which I think a lot of that was just more so focused on the track side of things, but not the field side of things, especially for women's sports. So, I mean, would you agree with that?
No, I agree, because when it comes to women's sports or just things dealing with women, the main thing is sex sells.
Yeah.
So if it's not sexy, it's not going to do well. And then in my event, in particularly when it was really heavy with Eastern European women, they weren't the most feminine looking women out there, right? They were big, strong women. A lot of them did have very manly characteristics and all these muscles. So it wasn't something that people really looked into or really cared about or anything of that nature. So when I came through, I was the oddball out of the group, because here I am. I have on makeup and lashes and my nails are done and my hair is done. I'm like, why y'all looking basic? Like, you know, I come in.
And we're seeing that with women weightlifters too.
Yeah.
The exact same thing, because
exactly
of what you're talking about. Yeah.
Because this was something that, and it's something that I struggled with in the beginning between my dad and I. So my dad's old school. Like, you ain't got to be pretty. You got to be good. But I'm like, how come I can't be good and pretty? Like, how come I can't have both? And I've always been this girly girl. Here I am in this sport, and I got to throw this thing real far. My dad's like, I don't care about what you look like. Just throw. I said, but I care about both. And so we would have this fight going back and forth, where one time, y'all, my daddy made me go to a competition and not get my hair and my nails done. Who feelings was all the way hurt was mine. And my confidence was down. Like, I had a horrible meet, and I was so mad at my dad. And my dad just looked at me. He was like, okay, I would never do that to her ever again. Like, I got to let her be her. And in that moment, I had to, like, just learn that that's me too. Because even like in high school and college, it was easy to be myself. It was easy. But then once I got professional and all the other girls are looking at me like I'm crazy, and they're talking about me while I'm looking how I'm looking and they looking how they looking, it made me question, like, okay, am I making the right decision? Because I'm not winning. I can't look this good and I'm not winning yet. But I'm like, but Michelle, that's just who you are. Like, you just get dressed like that. That makes me feel good at the competitions. And so I really leaned into that when it was still looked down upon in my sport. Now, catch me any other day, Monday through Friday in the gym, I look a hot mess. I look like how you think I should look like. I look like that. I go to the gym with my rollers in my head. I might be ashy and my clothes may not match because I've got to go in here and do this work. But the minute I hit the field, I'm getting ready for my presentation. Like how people get ready for presentations at job. You want to look good. I'm getting ready to present the work that I've been doing all this time at this track meet, and I'm going to look good while doing it because it makes me feel good. When I feel good, I do good. So therefore, that's what you're going to get.
See, and that, oh God, that's so good that you said that, because that ties right into your philosophy and philanthropy off of the field, out of that small little, circle of where you throw the shot put, and you talk about that. Like, you literally walk your talk of, looking good and feeling good. And it all starts from the inside and it resonates on the outside. And you talk about body image, and you encourage those that don't feel good about themselves to seek themselves from within and to see that they have abilities, that they have the capabilities, whether it be into track and field or whatever they want to do, business or whatever they set their mind to do. And I love that you are such an example of that. Those that follow you on IG, and I'm one of those that do follow you on IG, you have videos about that. You give like tidbits and confidence, little like 2-3 minute little bits of confidence to those that are watching. What inspired you to do that and then go into talk about You Throw Girl, something that you had found that's near and dear to your heart?
Well, for me to share my journey and things that I experienced, because I realized that we are redeemed by the words of our testimonies.
Amen.
And that when people hear stories, that people can be set free, people can overcome, people can be lifted up and encouraged to go after something. So I realized that there's power in my words. And so if I stay silent, there's somebody who's waiting for me to tell my story, who needs what I experienced and to share it for their breakthrough moment.
Yeah.
And so when I realized, okay, Michelle, like, is this really what I want in my life? Not quite, but if I can help somebody, might as well. And so so that's where I kind of get the courage to actually share my story and what I'm going through and how to work on that confidence. Because there's, like, in my journey, everybody didn't believe what I was going after. They did not believe it. Even at the 2016 Olympic Games, I wasn't even really a favorite to even medal. They had me best at third, most likely fourth. And then for me to come back and win, there was my sponsors and other people looking at me like,
yes, and that's that. No, and I'm telling you, as a person of millions of people that were watching, the commentators, the announcers were surprised. So
they were,
and it's good to have you say that, because I mean, I hate that commentators, they're like, we got our favorites, is this person, and this person's going to medal, and they're, they got this resume and everything else. But to have someone be an underdog, someone that they didn't expect to come up and rise up from where they were to 8th to 5th to 2nd to possibly winning this gold medal, like the tone changed.
It changed because people got used to somebody always dominating.
Yes.
And I believe there's a time and a reason in the season for everything. And the competition is not over until it's over. I didn't win until my last throw. I was in second place the entire competition. And I think she had me by like 3 or 4 feet, possibly, maybe. I can't remember. Yeah. But it looked like that it was going to be guaranteed hers. But I'm like, I got 6 throws. And each throw I'm trying and trying and trying. And that's what I'm saying. Like, the work that I put in finally showed up for me on that last throw. And she could have came back and beat me. She's thrown further than that in her career, but it just wasn't her time. But that's what I say. Like, when you truly believe in yourself, you got to go through all these different levels of growing up and pruning and refining. So when you get to your moment, you're prepared and you're ready, because you've gone through the fire, you've gone through the storms, and now you get to reap the benefits of the work that you put in. And so with that, I realized there are a lot of people that people count out. People count you out based off your skin color, off your background, where they think you came from, or what they think that you're capable of doing. But you don't really truly know what somebody is capable of. And I really believe that you can show what you're capable of once you truly believe in yourself. And when I say yourself, I mean, like, when I say yourself, I'm going to use me as an example. Myself with no skill. If I never threw a shot put a day in my life, if I didn't have any talents, if I am stripped down to the bare nakedness of who I am in essence, do I still feel good about me? Do I still trust me? Can I depend on me? Right. And I think when we talk about confidence, people think about, like, really more about what you look like on the outside versus what's really going on the inside. Because even on my worst days, this is just me, I don't know about y'all. On my worst days, I'm still going to pull the best one. Why? Because I'm confident about who I am. Yeah. I don't care about how I look all the time. That's not where my confidence lies. My confidence lies within who I am. Because when I look at the definition of confidence, it breaks down to having trust in something or someone.
Come on,
so we all trust this chair. So the chair that we're sitting in right now, we trust this chair to do what the chair is supposed to do. So I have confidence in this chair. I plop all my weight down on this chair and don't think twice about it. Now, can you do the same thing for yourself? Can you show up for you? Can you trust you to hold up their commitments? Can you trust you to take care of yourself? And that's where true confidence comes in. It's like when it comes down to the end of the day, can I show up for me? Can I trust me? And that's where I started. That's where I started to put that confidence, because now people wait for other people to tell them what they should and can't do. And then you trust that to trust yourself. No, it's the opposite. Get to know who you are. Spend time with yourself. Understand your shortcomings, understand your strengths, because they both have to work together. In my weaknesses, I'm still confident. Why? Because I know I'm weak and I'm about to ask for help. Right? Like I could be confident in that because I know me. And so knowing and going through that journey, I came up with my camp because I want these young girls to truly have confidence in who they are, just at the bare minimum of themselves. And that anything that you do is extra. So I always say a cake isn't a cake, a good cake, just because the icing's good. A cake is a good cake because the base is good. Anything you add on top of it just takes what it is to another level. So when you have a good piece of cake and then you add icing, you're like, oh, that icing just adds a little bit extra to it, but you can still eat the cake by itself and be satisfied. Right. And that's how I think about us as people. Like, we are putting these ingredients together because we're about to make a good cake. And we're going to be a good cake if we didn't have any special talents or anything else. But then now I have this skill. I throw very well. I have this other skill. I do makeup. I have this other skill. And these are just little decorations and little extras. And so that's kind of like how I started this camp for my girls, because I'll get questions from people all the time. Why are you so confident? What makes you confident? And then in my mind, I used to get irritated because I'm thinking, like, why do you think I shouldn't be? And most of the reason why is because I am a larger girl. They always assume that just because you're big that you have low self-esteem, that you don't believe in yourself and trust in yourself. Like, that's not true. Right. And so now in this world, you have these girls who are larger, and now they have all these self-esteem issues, and their parents don't know how to make them feel better about themselves. And then their parents come to me. And then so they want to know why I'm confident. How can I make their daughters confident? But I'm like, well, let me just put this all together, because apparently there's a need. There's something there that people need to see something different. And apparently I have it. That's how I kind of looked at it. And so I'm just going to share my experiences, what I think and what I do, and we're going to see how that works. And then I put together my camp because I think that regular sports camps are boring when you're just doing all the skill stuff all day long. And I just added a lot of different layers to this camp to round out the whole female athlete, because people think you're an athlete, all you need to do is work on your skills. Like, no, there's other things athletes need in their life to round them out as a person. If I can round you out as a person, then you'll be even a better athlete. So I just want to give them the tools that at the end of the day, they believe in themselves. And I don't care what they do in their lives. They can apply what we teach at this camp to any area of their life and any skill and be successful. Gosh, I wish your camp was around when I was, coming up in sports, because it's more than just the skill. And that was with some of these sports camps, because I went to a couple of sports camps coming up in my track. And I think that's why I decided to focus on college, because, getting a degree was very important, especially in my family. So I didn't have that confidence. I had the skill, and everybody noticed me when I broke records in the 100, when I broke records in the, we did very well in the 4x4, 4x1. But I didn't have that substance of the mental set, the heart set, when somebody walks up to you and tell you that you're not good, that you're slow, that, all the things that hinder you down, and to, shift that whole entire mindset that unfortunately I've seen many people that have ran track, that used to run track, that took a toll on their bodies, it took a toll on their mental, because they did not have that person in their corner to build up their confidence mentally, to build up their heart mentally, to how to handle rejection when, you got the naysayers and the haters that come at you. And that's so fantastic what you're doing with these young ladies, because it is a lot of girls that being a mentor too, that need that confidence boost, that need that, that encouragement, because we are unfortunately living in a more negative society than when you and I grew up, and we're close in age. I mean, would you agree with that? I totally agree with that. And I think the main culprit, unfortunately, even though we love it, is social media. Yep. And the comparison. Because now, instead of just looking and being happy for people and enjoying other people's successes, people are comparing, like, why did they get that? And how come I can't get that? So I've done this. I should have more than them. Like, that's where we're going wrong with everything, is that comparison. Everybody's different. Your road and your path is different. It's not going to look like anybody else's. I can't compare my path to your path. Or even better yet, like, I can't, like, my path of being an Olympic gold medalist is different from Valerie's path to becoming an Olympic gold medalist. If I was trying to mock her life, I still wouldn't have reached my goal, because I can't do it the way that she does it. Right. And I think if we all embrace the differences that we have and notice that and understand that with life comes ups and downs. And really, everybody looks forward to the ups, but the downs is where you really get ready. Right. That's the part when you look back on your journey that you're going to appreciate the most. The times when things didn't work out, the times where you almost quit and you did it, the times where you know, you just didn't feel like doing it, but you did it anyways. Like, those are really the moments that really make the successes even sweeter. So I always tell people, what you see on social media, just know before you saw this post, there was 1,000 moments where they probably cried and was down and had blood, sweat, and tears into this moment, just so you can enjoy this picture and be mad because they're there and you're not.
Hurt people.
Right? Like, you got to check yourself for that. Like, you have to really check yourself. And social media will get you caught up thinking that you should have something that you didn't quite work for. And because you don't know what these people went through to get to where they're at. And so you got to just embrace your journey and celebrate others.
Exactly. That's so good. That is so good. Your podcast, which I'm so glad that you are, welcome to the world of podcasting. I'm so glad that you're doing this. The Podium Life Podcast, which everybody at the sound of my voice, if you're listening and if you're watching on YouTube, needs to subscribe to her podcast.
Yes,
everything that she had talked about so far on here, from her journey to the Olympics to, her father mentoring her and coaching her. Michael Carter, if you do not know who her dad is, please, research that. He is very good in his own right and has a phenomenal daughter here on the show. But her podcast is absolutely amazing. And what you talk about, Michelle, is everything you pretty much had talked about on here and then some, and breaking down, about body image, about the mental health, because we have seen a war on mental health, especially in the Black community, unfortunately, with well-known people that have taking in their mind the easy way out and their own loss of life. Talk about your podcast and why you started your podcast and the purpose of it.
Yes, so we have the Podium Podcast, where we talk about living life a step above the rest. Not meaning like we're thinking that we're better, but because we actually are doing the things that people don't want to do, and we're putting that work in. Because when we talk about a podium and track and field, it's like the top 3 finishers.
Yes.
And so you want to do the thing that's going to put you on your podium, whatever that is for your life. But that's pretty much you being your best and doing your best, giving your best effort. And so I talk about that, and I break it down, I think, into like 7 different little categories that I think that affects athletes in general, and how I've come across these issues, overcame these issues, or worked through these issues. And I'm bringing on people that are going to talk about these issues as well. So you say we have our physical health, which you think as athletes, everybody is always in the best physical health, but no, they struggle with that. We have mental health. Then we have relationships. Relationships are a big one. Then we got finances. We know what happens with athletes and money. But we have many more. Discipline and hard work. What does that really take? Like, what's your skill and what's talent? I think we talk about,
you broke down an acronym of FEAR, what it is, false evidence appearing real.
Yeah, false evidence. Like, we talk about, your mental, like your like your game plan, like your mental game plan. Like that's important. Like you have your mental health, like for your regular everyday life, but there's this like switch that athletes have when you're able to turn it on and turn it off and figure those things out. So I wanted to talk about these little things that makes a big difference in an athlete's life and their mindset. Because when you study great people and you see people who are able to accomplish things that others didn't, it's really all about your mindset. Yeah. And a lot of times we always think that we probably need something physical in order to have that. No, I tell people this as of late, and I just realized this for myself. I competed at the 2016 Olympic Games, and I was not 100% physically healthy.
Wow.
Who wins a gold medal and they're not 100% physically healthy? I did, because I didn't need more than what I already had. I already had more than enough. I just had to get my mind in the right place to actually accomplish it. So when I got hurt in 2016, it put me in a position where I couldn't rely on my body, and I had to rely on a source outside of me. For me, that's God, Jesus, amen. But then on the other side, I had to strengthen my mental game for that moment. And so I kind of talk about these things that I think a lot of times athletes we take for granted because we automatically do these things, but we actually have these great skills that allow us to push through hard times that other people can learn from us to get through life. Because we know in order to get on that podium, we're going to have to go through some pain. I'm going to have to go through some injuries. I'm going to have to fail. I'm going to get rejected. But I know that that's not the end. That's just on my way to where I'm going. And so trying to pull all that together to have this really uplifting and real and honest podcast to help people through those moments, because people quit when they feel like they're the only ones. Yeah. And I want you to know you're not the only one. Like I've gone through a lot of these things. I may not publicize it and talk about it, but now I'm in a space where I am going to talk about it more, because I realize people are struggling and they just want to know that, okay, I'm not by myself. And now that I know that I'm not by myself, because Michelle talked about she was depressed one time, like Michelle was depressed. The show never like, oh, Michelle did this. Oh, if she could do it, then got it. What she do? 1, 2, 3, got it. I'm gonna go try that. And I just, like, for me, that does so much, knowing that my words can help somebody. Like that's, to me, that's something simple that I can do, is share my words, my experiences, my wisdom, and help you be the best of your life and go do amazing things too. Like, why not? Sign me up for that all day. Exactly.
What's the feedback you've gotten from someone who has heard your words, who has been in the presence of you motivating, a group of people? You're a motivational speaker. You've talked to people. You have done, like I said, on your Instagram, you had, and touched on, body image and confidence and, knowing who you are and giving your all and giving your, everything that you want to pursue to the fullest. What feedback have you gotten from someone or, anybody, people that still, stays in your mind of, this is why I'm doing what I do?
Yeah. So I think recently, maybe about a month now, I've shared, it's a post I had like my little sports bra on, and I was talking about me going on this journey to be healthier, changing my body composition post sports. Like now I don't have to perform. Now I can just go work out to be cute, right? Like that's where I'm at. But I was talking about this, and I kind of shared like my insecurities about it, some things that I struggled with, and having an autoimmune disease. And I just really kind of openly talked about it, and I shared it. And that post kind of went crazy online, and my friends and family was hitting me up like, oh my God, thank you for saying something. Thank you for sharing this. And then I had a homeboy, he called me. He was like, sis, like, thank you. He said, because I've been struggling and I didn't know who to talk to about it. I didn't know anything. He said, because I had these feelings and I didn't know what to do with it. And I was depressed and my anxiety was on high. And he said, I even had thoughts of suicide. Wow. He said, but when I heard you share your message and how you felt, he was like, man, I know I can push through. I know I can do this. He was like, I just appreciate you being honest. And when he said that, like, it almost made me cry, because I would never think that about this person that I know fairly well and always encourages me, and we always have a good time together. But they were in a dark place and no one knew it. Yeah. And just me being honest about where I was at in my life and what was going on, and this is what I'm doing to overcome it. I was able to help release him from whatever was holding him back and feeling like he couldn't be open and honest about what he was feeling like. And that's when I realized, okay, Michelle, apparently, your voice is powerful. Like, I know this, but then in those moments, it makes me realize how powerful it is.
Yeah.
Like, I can really help people like that. Like, that's crazy to me. But I'm also like, it's like, it's wonderful at the same time, because I can say something to do the opposite, and I can say something that can help. I can say something that can hurt. But when I get stories like that from friends and family and even strangers, that's how I know that what I'm doing is helpful, because you just never know who needs to hear your voice. But the only way they won't hear your voice is if you never say anything.
Exactly. Your voice is needed. It is powerful. And like I said, I want people to follow you on your podcast. So you're a podcaster, you're an Olympian, gold medalist. I'm waiting for you to like come out with a book, because I think people need to read it.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yes.
We working on it. We working on all these things.
Come on, tour 2023.
Right.
You have done color commentary on the networks, which you're really good at. I hope you do more of those, by the way.
Thank you.
What's next for you in 2023? We are in Black History Month. You are, and I want people to realize this when I say this before you answer this question, and that's the last question I'm going to ask you. I want people to realize that Michelle Carter is Black history. And I want people to know that your name resonates with that and what you have done for the sport of shot put. So I want people to, whenever they watch this or they hear this on all their podcast platforms, wherever they get their podcasts, realize when they hear the name Michelle Carter, that, you know, the history that you have done for Black women, being a Black woman, in this month that we have to celebrate the history makers, the HERstory makers, that you are attached to that. And I wanted to give you your flowers on this show and tell you thank you for what you have done and what you continue to do. And so with that being said, what's next for Michelle Carter coming up in 2023?
No, I thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. It's crazy when I think about some of the things that I accomplished. I'm like, we did that? I forgot, right? But I appreciate that. But what is next? I to be honest, I'm still figuring it out. Like, I'm doing the podcast thing, which I absolutely love. I have a couple of other entrepreneurial adventures that I'm testing out. I am writing a book. And one other thing that I did, I went and became a notary. I'm a notary signing agent. Because I'm like, okay, I need something to do to keep me a little busy. And I'm like, I gotta just tell people where to sign. I could do that.
There you go.
And so I picked that up, and now I'm just trying to be consistent with what I have and just kind of see how things unfold. Also too, I've been picking up like all my speaking and hosting events as well. So I have like a pretty big event that when everything is done, I get to share that I'm really, really excited about. So there's so many things coming up, and I'm just trying different things to see where we land and then go from there.
That's so good. So where can people follow you on the social media?
Yes, I'm pretty much at Shot Diva on everything. SHOTDIVA, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. My website is shotdiva.com. And also, I forgot, my nonprofit is One Golden Shot. You can find that at onegoldenshot.org, and my camp information is there.
Let's talk about that for a little bit before we end. What is One Shot?
One Golden Shot is me having events and activities that help prepare people for that one shot in life. So everybody has these moments that you build up to, that moment that changed your life. And like for me, that one moment in the 2016 games, like not giving up, not quitting, and being prepared for that moment, it has changed my life forever. So with my nonprofit, right now we have 3 programs. One is, of course, You Throw Girl. And then the other one is called Fueled Up. It's where we provide snacks and food for local track teams, because these kids go out to track meets all day and they don't have snacks, and their parents don't bring them food, and how they're supposed to perform at their best, and they're hungry and they don't have the energy. So we have that. And then my other event is called I'm Supported. where we are providing sports bras for young female athletes and talk about proper sports bra fitting. Because for me, as a young girl, I had breasts pretty early, and going through that transition and playing basketball and having to run and finding a good sports bra was really hard. And for girls who have that issue, it's a confidence thing, because now you got to worry about what's going on here. People are looking at you, people are talking about you. But I want girls to actually feel confident in finding the right sports bras and making sure they have what they need. So when they go out there and they play their sports, they're confident, feel good about themselves, because they have the proper equipment. And sports bra is a very needed proper equipment for a young woman.
Oh, that's so good. I love that. And I love that you are part of the community. I love that people that have done so much for, their talent, that they are, givers and servants of the community and wanting to give back. So that's incredible what you are doing. I am so honored to have had you as a guest on the podcast today. So thank you so much, Michelle, for what you're doing, for who you are, for whose you are, because your steps are ordered. And so God is guiding you all the way. And I am looking forward to what exciting things are going to be happening for you in 2023. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Yes, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
And thank you, everybody that was listening and watching. I appreciate it so much. And as I always end the show, Heard That Nation, take care, stay safe. We out of here.